Hey, welcome to our live event series. In today's video, this is specifically made for existing Shopify store owners. So whether you already have a seven-figure brand or you've launched your first product last week or a couple months ago, in today's video, we're going to show you how to, if you are an existing Shopify seller or store owner, how to tap into the power of Kickstarter to launch your next product and grow your audience. So be sure to grab a notebook and let's get into it. So a few things we're covering today. We're going to be covering about showing a few case studies of brands that have gone to Kickstarter, why they did that, to see if maybe that's a fit for you, or to understand that channel better if you are planning to go to Kickstarter today or for your next product in the future. Okay. This is going to be a really great video to understand how Kickstarter can work as a product launch platform or a channel for one product or subsequent products if it works for you. Okay, so it can be really like a product launch engine. And also, if you are planning to bring your next product to Kickstarter, how that looks from a marketing standpoint. So we're actually going to be going the main part of today's video is walking through how I build a marketing plan for existing brands to take into consideration how you actually onboard your existing audience to get them on board and excited to help support your Kickstarter project, and how your marketing plan differs from being just a new seller starting from zero versus having one where you already have a base, and go from there. Through this process, if you have any questions, be sure to drop them below and we will, handle that. Okay, so let's get into this. So hey, my name is Khierstyn, and for this channel, what we focus on is we help you launch and scale your e-commerce brand. So what that means is that we help you with actionable content like this, whether it's building marketing plans, getting more clear on who your customer is, or helping you troubleshoot day-to-day issues. That's exactly what we do here. Keep in mind that this is a live video, meaning there's not a lot of editing that could happen by the time you see this. So if I fumble, stumble, take a coffee break, please do have grace. This is not going to be as polished as our usual edited videos, but that's like kind of the fun in the live. Okay, so moving in this, you're going to see me sometimes that I move my attention off the screen. That's because I'm either referring to my notes or I'm going to be sharing my screen as we build a marketing plan for actually based off an existing brand that we're bringing to Kickstarter today. Okay, so the first thing I want to go through is, if you've been following my work for a while, this message may seem contradictory to you about, okay, well, why are we talking about going to Kickstarter when a lot of my content seems to be saying that people shouldn't go to Kickstarter? So the first myth that I want to dispel is I believe that Kickstarter is an amazing platform for existing brands that already have an audience. What I mean by an audience, that could be arbitrary. An audience means that you have already brought a product to market, you have supply chain figured out, and you already have a couple hundred customers that have bought your first, second, third product, and you have a really good sense of what they want. It's really, if you are a brand that's doing 5 to 10K per month or higher, Kickstarter can be a really great platform for you to build your audience more. We have worked with existing brands like Pavlok that actually got started on Indiegogo launching products, and they ended up going back and doing a crowdfunding campaign 2, 3, 4 times for different versions of their product. Pavlok is an example of a brand that was started through crowdfunding, but because they found success and loved it as a platform to continue to introduce their brand to new audience that's available on crowdfunding websites like Kickstarter or Indiegogo, they came back and used crowdfunding as a product launch engine to continue to grow their brand. We have case studies of, we've worked with sagomini.com, where at the time had a really big retail presence, but wanted to use crowdfunding as a way to build their retail, like their audience presence online. So we ended up working with Sagomini to launch a throw pillow that raised about $175,000, and they use that to really jumpstart their online presence. That's another example of an existing brand using Kickstarter. We've also worked with founder.com to, at the time before Founder got into physical products or courses, when they were a digital subscription magazine for entrepreneurs, they wanted to do a Kickstarter campaign to launch a coffee table book to their existing audience, which featured the best of interviews in physical form for what they had to offer for their audience. And we ended up raising over $200,000 with founder.com to do that on Kickstarter. When we look today at how Kickstarter is being used, Kickstarter, in my opinion, should only be used by existing brands, because the competition for doing Kickstarter campaigns has become so fierce that the platform is oversaturated. And the products that end up actually delivering on time and being able to, I guess, fund the marketing required to do a crowdfunding campaign are existing brands. So when you're looking at this in terms of like, wow, I thought she was like the anti-Kickstarter girl. Not at all. We've just shifted our focus for who I think Kickstarter is good for based on the goals that you have set. So that's why I've wanted to put together this video to help existing brands really understand how Kickstarter can play a part in an existing marketing framework as either a product launch engine, as something maybe you want it to use for subsequent product launches, or even just to like for a trial run for that next product. Okay. So now that we're on the same page, there are two main reasons why brands will use Kickstarter. And a brand is someone who is an existing merchant, so they already sell online. It could be someone who has a huge retail presence already, and they want to be jumpstarting their online presence with their Shopify brand. Okay, so that is what a brand is. It's not someone who has no products in market. Okay, they already have a bit of a base going into it and moving forward from there. Okay, so two reasons why brands use Kickstarter. Number one is the case of building their audience online. Kickstarter is it's a platform that helps new products get discovered by their audience. So people that shop on Kickstarter are early adopters. The products that launch on Kickstarter are innovative. They're products that are not available in the market yet. And so Kickstarter tends to have millions of visitors every single month, a huge online community of like new early adopters that are constantly looking for cool new products to pre-order. And by you introducing your product onto that platform is a way for you to get more eyeballs on your brand. So any customer, when you do a Kickstarter launch, any customers that you get off of Kickstarter end up being your customers. So after a 30 or 60-day campaign, you get that list of buyers and you're able to then carry them into your audience, which is going to be really great if you've got like a subscription product or other products that you can potentially cross-sell or upsell after the Kickstarter launch. Okay. So a couple of really, really cool things. So either number one, increase your presence online through an audience, or use it as a product launch engine, like a lot of brands do, to come back over and over and over again and tap into that Kickstarter community. So let's actually get to planning the Kickstarter launch. And one thing I would love to know is, why are you watching this video? Are you planning an upcoming launch? What are some questions you have? Let me know below in the comments. And if you're enjoying content like this for existing brands, let me know and we'll create more videos like this. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do, let me go to share my screen and see if this works. Okay. I may have to, just give me a second. Good thing we can cut some clips out and post. Okay. Awesome. So let's do this. I have my iPad right now, and actually, you know what? I want to. Yeah, okay, cool. I'll make sure you can see me so I can see myself. Okay, so I want to use the example of a journal that we are launching on Kickstarter in the next couple of months. And I want to walk through, I'm going to treat this as if I'm doing a strategy session with this journal brand and work backwards to create a launch timeline and actually talk about why we shape the project and the management of that project and milestones the way that we do. If you're looking for something a bit more comprehensive, be sure to check out some of our product launch resources below in the below this video. We've got a ton, whether that is our product launch bundle with a checklist, roadmap on how to apply this for your brand, case studies, whatever, it's down below, okay? Cool. So the first thing I want is the journal that we are launching on Kickstarter is the JMB Living Journal. So Julie, you may have recognized her from a previous interview that we've done. Julie launched the JMB Living Journal on Indiegogo 3 to 4 years ago. And she's now going to Kickstarter to launch a new version of the journal, which is super exciting. So going into this launch, the assets that we have for something like JMB Living is we have a existing customer base, we have a social media audience, and we have new customers or new traffic that we need to introduce to the product. So here's what I'm looking at. If we are for existing brands, I want to give it, say, an 8-week runway to prepare for launch. So the first thing that is different between this and a beginner brand starting from zero is that we don't need 3 to 6 months to build up an audience like new sellers do in preparation for a Kickstarter launch. Because JMB Living already has a built-in audience base, we actually don't need to build up our audience that much more to be able to hit our Kickstarter goal. Okay, so a few things. If we want to raise $75,000 on Kickstarter, okay, then first off, the traffic breakdown, and this is important because we build a marketing plan around this. So from $75,000 as the real Kickstarter goal that we're shooting for, this is going to come from a couple of things. It's going to come from, we'll assume 25% from the Kickstarter audience. Okay. We will assume, I say 25 to 30. Okay. So 25 to 30. We will assume that, say, 10% comes from existing customers. Okay. So that gives us, say, 40% there. We assume that 25 to 30% will come from pre-launch, which we'll talk about in a second. Oh, there's my chicken scratch writing. Okay. And then we assume that the remainder is coming from traffic during the launch. Okay, you know what? There's a better way to do this. So out of 75K, we have this breakdown. We have 10% customers. We have 25 to 30% from pre-launch. Okay. We have 25 to 30 from Kickstarter organic, which means just pledges that are coming from Kickstarter itself. And then we have the remainder that comes from traffic during campaign. Okay. So traffic during campaign includes things like influencers, word of mouth, okay, PR, etc. Oh, paid and organic social. Organic social is going to be like just posting on Instagram. It could be a giveaway contest you're doing. Paid is going to be from driving paid traffic through like Facebook, Google, TikTok. Okay. So that's like the breakdown of where your $75,000 comes from. So when we look at the marketing plan and the breakdown of where our traffic is coming from, we need to incorporate this into a marketing plan. Okay. So and feel free to screenshot this, by the way. Let's get going. So I'm going to hold the number of 75,000. Whoa. You can't even see that. 75,000 as the goal. Okay. So that's the goal. Moving away from this for an existing brand, here is what we have. If we want to and these are arbitrary dates, okay? So let's say that our launch is on a July 1st, okay? It's not actually on July 1st, but it's just easier to keep the math this way, okay? You want to be launching on a Tuesday. I'm pretty sure July 1st is like Saturday or something. So, okay. July 1st launch is the goal. What this means is that right away, our pre launch, or we want to go live with our marketing plans as of May 1st. Okay. So that gives us 8 weeks. So that's an 8 week timeline. So, May 1, start pre launch. Okay. So May 1 is our arbitrary goal date to go live and announce to the world that we are going live with a new product, okay? So the first thing is that we have two stages. When we have an existing brand, we take what's called a two-pronged marketing approach, because with an existing brand, you have two kinds of audiences. You have existing existing emails or customers. And then you have new. Okay. So new are going to be people that until they come across your journal as of May 1st or beyond, they have no clue who JMB Living is, right? Okay. So new people. So our marketing plan has to take into consideration these two. The great thing about JMB having launched on Indiegogo a few years ago is that she's got a real loyal customer base. So the first thing we need to do is take that two-prong marketing approach. Okay. So what that means is we have two stages of announcing the thing. Okay. So as of May 1st, we want to do a private, and I'll tell you why we're doing this in a second, private launch announcement to your list. Okay, to your list. Reason we do this, so private launch announcement can be where you are teasing them with, hey, on May 1st, we're doing a big announcement that nobody knows about but you, because you've been with us since the beginning as one of our proud supporters. So what we're doing with making a private announcement is, because people are on your email list or because people have bought your product in the past, this is like a VIP list, sort of, right? They're your people. They're the ones that have supported you since day one, and they're your biggest fans. So you want to make them feel special by doing a private launch announcement so that only they know about your launch. Okay. So to be clear, May 1st is not when you publicly tell the world. It's where you tell only your most loyal supporters, your email list, that you've got something happening. And what you do with this is you want to have a way to capture their interest. So this right away is where we start to segment the list. Yes, like split the list of people who are interested in learning more about your launch versus not. So what we have happening on May 1st is we actually have people, we're sending them to a landing page that is going to have information about your product and an opt-in button. Okay, so that's where they can actually go to the landing page and learn a bit more about the product and sign up for email updates on that product. Okay. What you're doing at this point is you are testing how interested your list is and how active they're going to be in your launch based on the response rate to this email. And by response rate, what I mean by that is what percentage of people have actually clicked over from your existing list to the landing page and signed up for the new launch, right? So that's a very, very first thing where you can start to gauge the interest of how excited your existing list is going to be for your launch, right? So that's the very, very first thing you want to do. The second thing you want to do after that point, let's give it essentially your existing email list will know about 7 to 10 days about the launch before you go public with it. So then what that means is, say as of your next goal is May 15th, that is when you do your public pre-launch. Okay? Public pre-launch. What this includes posting on social media to do the big announcement with a link to your landing page in your bio. Okay. It's where you turn on ads, and we'll get to that in a second. You turn on ads to build your wait list. And it's where you start reaching out to influencers, getting product to them, and going like just doing a full outreach to build awareness publicly for your new campaign. So I want to talk about what that looks like. Okay, so again, we have audience type 1, which are, we'll just call them your VIPs to be clear. That's like your existing customers and email list. And then 2 is like everyone else. Okay. VIP, if you want to get clear on this too, it can also be your social media followers. Okay, social media followers. Okay, people who actively follow your account, not necessarily just anyone in the ether that's going to come across your content. Cool. So that is your 2 thing here. Let's get in with the 2-prong marketing approach. So you have this landing page, okay? And this landing page is going to be to get people on an email list specifically who are interested in the new product, okay? So landing page for Kickstarter waitlist. And now there are 2 ways that we're going to get people to get on this wait list. So the wait list for the product is really specific because if you have, and this is where it gets a little complicated, because if you have an existing brand that you're already selling other products, but then you have this new launch, you don't want to be suddenly emailing your whole list only about the launch and then competing messages about, all the other product promos you're doing, because it's just going to really jumble the message. So you want to just make sure that you are segmenting interest onto a specific wait list so that your waitlist people are going to get specific relevant information to the launch, and you want to make sure that you have that list because they are the most interested in your product. So here is where this 2-prong marketing approach comes into effect. Our goal is to drive everyone to this Kickstarter waitlist, okay? So that we're building that waitlist, and then when we go to launch, we launch on Kickstarter. Woohoo! Launch on Kickstarter, right? But the 2-prong marketing approach is where we start to funnel in people from number 1. We're funneling people into number 1 from your existing email list. And we do this from email about launch. And don't just, as we said on like May 1st, when you are emailing your list and doing the big reveal, the big private reveal about your product, that's not the only time you're going to email your main list about it. You definitely want to be peppering it throughout your whole, like everything that you're doing. But the difference between that and the email wait list about the Kickstarter product is that they're just getting much more specific, relevant information for the product. Whereas you might like, with your email content strategy for your main list, you may just every week just have like a PS, or you might have a banner at the bottom of your email to say like, hey, have you signed up for a Kickstarter waitlist yet? Here's why you should do that, and here's how. Cool. So number 1 are existing customers. So your customers. Number 2 is everyone else. Okay. So when we email everyone about launch in number 1, we're sending them to the landing page where then they get like follow-up emails and all that stuff. But then we have this like point number 2 where we want to start building up our audience more with cold traffic. So when we go back to the split of, if we say the goal is 75,000, we assume that from your existing customer base, you're going to get about 10% of your pledges. So if we assume that from list number 1, we're going to get about 7,500 in sales, we still have to close the gap because like the thing with Kickstarter is that for you to launch and rank on their platform, which is how you set your campaign up for success, you need to come in with a lot more than 10% of your goal, right? To set you up for success, you really need anything under a 6-figure campaign. You want to be aiming to bring in about 30% of your pledges on the first like 24, 36 hours. So what that means is that we actually need to be building up our audience a little bit more, because our existing audience base is not enough. There, we, without getting too much in the weeds here, we assume with this campaign that we're going to get about 10% of our sales, but we still have about 15, 20% to close. And we want to be testing the product with cold traffic. So all reasons why we need to have a marketing strategy around building up our audience a little bit more to make sure that we're lined up for the bigger numbers on Kickstarter. Okay, so going into that, what does that look like? Okay, so we've talked about our marketing strategy for number one, and our customers and how we funnel them into a landing page. Number two, with cold traffic, is going to be the same marketing that you do whether you are a brand new brand starting to build your audience, or a product launch. Okay, so what does a marketing strategy look like for number two? So 1, 2, landing page, pre-launch communication, Kickstarter. Okay, to get clear on the timeline, this is about a 6 to 8 week window with existing brands. Okay, so when we look at a marketing plan for number two, and let me know if I've lost you, by the way. Okay, marketing plan for number two. Number two, here's where we start to build our list through organic social media. Okay, so think doing TikToks for it, think YouTube shorts, think behind the scenes content. Okay, so this is what our SFVs, or short form video, okay, on all platforms. We look at still Instagram posts or stories. Okay, you might want to put together a Facebook community for this. Facebook community. You might want to do paid ads. So when we do paid ads to build wait lists, we do it one of two ways. We use Meta, which is a combination of Facebook and Instagram advertising, and Google Ads for remarketing purposes only. So we find that we don't go hard on Google until after launch, when you're in market and able to fulfill product, because the person who is searching on Google for something has their what's called a high intent audience, which means that someone looking on Google for a solution wants to buy it and get something right away. So we find that going nuts on Google with like their full suite YouTube ads, etc., not that great to drive customers when you're in pre-launch or a product launch. So when I say that we're using Google ads for remarketing, we're specifically like targeting people who have been to your website or doing what's called a branded search campaign, where branded search means that you're able to target anyone who has typed in any of your search terms for. So for example, like when we do TikTok ads, we would do TikTok ads for something like JMB Living Journal. And when we do TikTok ads for that, we're finding that a lot of people go to Google and type in relevant terms like JMB Living, JMB Journal, etc. And using Google Search Console, we're able to see what people are specifically typing into Google, and then we can pull those terms and build a remarketing audience. So essentially, in layman's terms, what we're doing on Google is we are targeting people who only know about the journal, who are actively searching for it. And yes, this absolutely does work with beginner brands. But once you have that data, you're able to essentially target people who are curious or interested or starting to learn a bit more about your product to drive that traffic to the landing page. Okay. A few other things. If you're an existing brand, you have product you can ship to influencers. So whether you are look, knowing a Kickstarter campaign is like the pre-order campaign, you may not have 1,000 units to ship to influencers, but can you get a couple made locally that you can send to bloggers? Okay. When you do that, you can get influencers to post around your launch and help tap into an additional traffic source. Okay. So influencer outreach. There's a ton of other things you can do, but these are the main things. And going through this today, I hope this gives you more clarity on how to organize communication and hype for a product launch if you already have an existing base, right? If you already have an existing customer base or existing email list that you don't want to, just want to organize communication strategy a little bit better. So, as I mentioned before, if you are someone who is launching a product and you want more clarity on that, check out some of the resources we have below. And be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you saw value in it. And outside of that, we will see you next time. Bye, guys.